Hello, and thank you for tuning in to our international news broadcast. Right now, let's review the top stories currently capturing global attention.
Event number 1. Ukrainian troops raided Russian positions, capturing many soldiers and causing great losses. Event number 2. Intelligence warns Russia to strengthen its military, preparing for potential conflict with NATO.
And now, for the details.
Reconnaissance soldiers from the Ukrainian Army's 3rd Assault Brigade conducted a stealth raid on a Russian position in a scorched forest line. Thanks to the Ukrainian Brigade's swift coordination, exhausted Russian soldiers fled their positions, while others were captured. Video shared on social media captured the raid on the Russian soldiers' position. After cornering the Russian troops, Ukrainian forces persuaded them to surrender, after which the Russian soldiers laid down their arms. Ukrainian soldiers then provided medical aid to the wounded Russian troops. According to Ukrainian officials and reports published between 2025 and 2026, more than 10,000 Russian soldiers have been captured since the invasion began. Based on these reports, an average of 60 to 90 Russian soldiers surrender or are captured each week. During some periods of intense fighting, such as in August 2024, this number rose to about 350 per week. As of 2026, Ukraine is reported to be holding thousands of Russian prisoners of war, the highest number since the war began. Russia has suffered heavy losses during its 4-year invasion of Ukraine, both in terms of personnel and military equipment. Ukrainian and Western sources estimate that Russian casualties have exceeded 1.2 million. Russia is strengthening its military infrastructure along the borders of NATO countries and using the war against Ukraine to train and test new units. These forces could become key factors in a future confrontation with the North Atlantic Alliance. This was a conclusion of Lithuania's annual intelligence report on security threats, published on Friday. Reuters reported on the matter. Analysts estimate that if international sanctions against Moscow are eased or lifted, the country could prepare for a major military clash with NATO within about 6 years. The document states that by then, Russia would be able to significantly increase its military by 30 to 50% compared to pre-war levels. A significant portion of its weaponry will be modernized, and strategic stockpiles of equipment and ammunition will be replenished. The report notes that the Kremlin's main objectives remain unchanged: to shift the balance of power in Europe in its favor, and to establish complete control over Ukraine. Lithuanian intelligence also indicated that Russia's defense sector is actively developing, thanks to support from China. This has helped Moscow reduce its dependence on Western technology and continue arms production despite pressure from sanctions. Analysts believe that, after the war, the surplus of weapons could negatively impact global security. Lithuania, which borders both Russia and its ally Belarus, is a member of NATO and the European Union. The country actively supports Ukraine and maintains a firm stance against the Kremlin's policies. The document also mentions a series of letter bombings in 2024. Lithuanian authorities have previously accused Russian military intelligence of being behind these incidents and warned that such attacks could become more dangerous and lead to casualties. Meanwhile, an investigation into damage to gas pipelines, power cables, and communication lines in the Baltic Sea since 2023 concluded that it may not have been the result of a deliberate act of sabotage. Although ships departing from Russian ports may be linked to these incidents, the report notes there is no evidence of sabotage. However, the report did not specify the data that led to this conclusion. After Russia launched its full-scale war against Ukraine, Baltic countries increased security measures due to a series of underwater accidents and infrastructure damage. In response, the North Atlantic Alliance announced its intention to increase its military presence in the region. In 2023, Finland recovered an anchor from the seabed that investigators believe may belong to a Chinese container ship. This vessel is suspected of damaging a gas pipeline between Estonia and Finland, as well as several fiber-optic communication cables. The investigation is ongoing, and Finnish authorities have not yet reached a final conclusion as to whether the incident was accidental or intentional. Speaking to reporters on the situation, Mindaugas Mazonas, the head of Lithuania's military intelligence, noted that the investigation was not conducted by his agency. However, according to available information, it was likely an unintentional incident. Some experts have previously warned that NATO countries could suffer serious losses in the event of a direct conflict with Russia. They believe the alliance could face difficulties similar to what Ukraine is experiencing, including problems with evacuating wounded soldiers from the front lines. Furthermore, analysts at Foreign Affairs magazine note that the West will have to significantly change its strategy if it wants to defeat Russia in the so-called shadow war.